my father, so it's personal, really personal. I really have seen it. Was an alcoholic. He was a periodic alcoholic, and then he went to an everyday alcoholic, and then he went to periodic. And my stepmonster, and I do mean stepmonster, he married the same woman twice. He married my mother, who was an alcoholic, and this woman was smart enough to stop drinking. So she knew how to handle him. She wouldn't let him in the house one night. He came home drunk, and she let him sit on the front step. Sadly for him, he had all designer clothes. He was a tall man, so he had to have everything custom made. And he sat in the pouring rain with his custom hat and his cashmere coat and his silk suit and custom shirts and on and on and on. And he was saturated. Sat there all night in the rain, and he decided, okay, I got two choices here. I can continue the way I am, or I can give up drinking. What do I want? And the dawn came, and he said, I'm done with this. He drank one more time after that. She locked him out of the house again, and that was it. So when you have a strong sense of self, and when you have a purpose that you consider more important than the habit, and you have strong free will, you can change, but it's got to be from the person themselves. Not for you, not for me, not for the mother, not for the kids. It's got to be for them. But certain people develop habits like tapping with a pencil. I dated a guy that tapped with the fork all night at dinner. And I had asked him, I looked, I was trying to be very diplomatic. And I looked over and I stared at the fork and I looked at him. Finally, I snatched the fork out of his hand and I said, really, that's driving me crazy. And he said, I know. I said, well, then dinner's over. And so when you find people like that, it's not worth your time. But there are certain problems or faults or liabilities that you can live with. There are certain that you cannot. Can you live? What is the worst habit that he has that you really can't deal with?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one, because honestly, I think part of it is, a lot of it is me not wanting to be married. I mean, I think that I'm nervous about giving up some of my, being single and being, I can't explain. Like I love
you think you're going to lose?
I love having my time alone. I love all this. I'll be giving all this up. And yes, he does have help. For example, I don't. Because of the drinking, I don't drink at all.
Right, I don't either.
He drinks socially, and it's connected with his work. And I think any drinking bothers me.
Yes, it does me too.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I feel like that might be more on me, that I'm so stuck in my ways. But he has told me, it's interesting that you brought the drinking, probably because you're so connected to everything, that was something in his life that he has had issues with. But it seems like he is able to adjust that and make it an occasional thing.
Yeah, what's interesting? People's body chemistry changes. Could be thyroid, it could be adrenals, it could be a blood sugar problem. And if they develop blood sugar problems, he's going to start drinking more. And just like, say, American Indians do not have the genetics to be able to tolerate alcohol because they had fresh enough water to drink on this continent, in Europe, there was almost no fresh water to drink. And so people got accustomed to everyday beer, everyday wine, because that's all they could drink without dying. And so if somebody is not genetically oriented to be able to handle alcohol, their body chemistry could change at any point, usually after the age of 30, 35, and they could start craving the alcohol more. Sometimes they get repelled by it. But first of all, I'm feeling a lot of things. I'd love to see you for a consultation, so there are certain things I will not say. I'm just going to be general about a couple of things. You are concerned about giving up your freedom and changing into a person. You like who you are. You like who you are now. And you're concerned that he is going, is that correct? You do like who you are?
I do very much.
Okay. And you are concerned that having to accommodate his faults is going to transform you into a shrew, somebody angry, somebody who is not happy on an everyday basis. He'll come home drunk one night just because he had one too many, and it'll set you off, and you will be done. Now, I don't know if you have Scorpio in your chart anywhere. I know that I do, and my daughter does. And with Scorpio, we give. It's the sign of the female energy of God. We give life. And because we have Scorpio in the chart, and because programmed into our spiritual DNA is the ability to give life, we have the curse of thinking that we can change people. And you cannot change people. They can change themselves. But I'm seeing that you're seeing, because you have psychic ability, that you're seeing that he's not done with it. And some of it is his age, but some of it is his confusing business obligations with social obligations. I don't care if you sell champagne to the finest restaurants and hotels in the world. You don't have to drink. There is no such thing as you have to drink. There is no such thing as you have to take a hit of cocaine. So, do you agree with this?
I've never done in my life. Like, all that stuff is something I'm not interested in. And you're really, like, hitting the nail on the head with that confusing business, personal thing. I'm also concerned, in his past, he's had a lot of not being loyal to women that he's been either married to or going out with.
Yeah, he
and that
cheats.
Makes me very concerned.
Yeah. If the two of, I would not suggest you get married. So, and I wouldn't even suggest you be engaged, because that creates an obligation to be with that person only. I would sit down very quiet. I would make the list of things you like and things you don't like. And I would sit down very quietly with him one night. That means turning off the phones, disconnecting the dog, whatever you have to do to get total silence. And give him this list and talk about it and say, look, nobody's perfect, but some of us have really worked on ourselves so that we're not far from it. And there are things that, to me, are not negotiable. Alcohol, drugs, I'm a vegetarian. The smell of meat makes me nauseous. I can't even go near the meat department in the supermarket. I have myself scheduled so that I work my way around having to go near that department. And there are certain things that, to me, are not negotiable. Now, having lived with a golfer, the first marriage, if he played golf once a month, that would be fine. But not 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. That's not negotiable. So you go through life and you find out who you are, and you figure out what is and is not negotiable. And I would tell him that these things that you dislike about him are not negotiable, and that you both need to break up, and he needs to go his way and you need to go your way, and he needs to reevaluate his life for himself. Not for you, not for the relationship, but for himself. Nobody who drinks has a very happy life. So therefore...
Well, I mean, he feels as if he's done that, as if he's changed all these things.
If he's still... You're either drinking or you're not. You know, you're either pregnant or you're not. We've got 30 more...
Exactly, yeah.
Would you like to hold on? Do you have more questions? Because we're going to have to take a break in a couple of seconds. And if you've got more questions about this... You want to hold on? Okay, stay with us. Don't you hang up. And I think you're bringing up a lot of really good points that are going to help our listeners understand where we're coming from. And I don't want you to go away. I want you to listen to the sponsors and make sure that we all stay together this afternoon for Metaphysically Speaking.